Hey everybody, it is LexxMarie here again. So I have been very much so pondering on reading this case again. Only reason why I haven't, and there's a few reasons. Number one is just the family privacy, you know. Again, this case it's been solved, but it hasn't. We know who, but there's a lot of little details that a lot of people don't know about, and that's what's kind of getting everybody, you know. It's been now over a year since the Watts case has been closed, but it's hard for people to accept without knowing all the details and just the family, how they were, how Shanann was, how, you know, Bella and CeCe were together, how it was so broadcasted. So it's like they got details of their life, and then it was just gone, all these details. And it happened to be when everything's got horrible, you know. So I did read them. So if you haven't listened to any of my prior readings regarding this case, go ahead and do so. I did receive that they were smothered before the children were smothered first, and then they happened to wake back up or whatever. Little things like that I did receive, but at first she was very guarded, and I'm going to explain why. Now it seems like, okay, we had wrote something. So this is what I wanted to say for Shanann as to why it was a little harder to connect with her. Apparently a lot of people were trying to connect with her, but it wasn't for her best interest. But she realized my intent and so she realized my intent over time. She's not gonna just say things or, you know, let parts of herself open if it's not necessary or if she feels like it's for bad intentions. So she's probably not speaking to a lot of the other people that claiming that they're speaking to her, only because she wants to know your intention and things like that. So she was very guarded at the time, because at the time when I was reading her for the first times, a lot of people were trying to. So she was just like, you know, she didn't want to trust anybody at the time. Over time, people slowly started, you know, dying down on the trying to connect with her and things. And then I was able to get to her, and now we can have full conversations. I can see her behind my mind's eye. We can talk back and forth. I can only do these with certain spirits, depending on how strong they are, how much their presence is here, how much aware they are of the afterlife. So that makes sense. So I'm just gonna keep going, and I'm sorry that I'm just babbling, but it's a lot of information. And it's gonna be very, like, I'm gonna jump back and forth, because it goes to her talking about the situation, it goes to her just speaking, and then it goes back to her like self-reflection on herself. So I'm going to just say everything, you know, in the order that it was received, okay, which I usually do for a purpose. So we'll just go there. Number one, little clip of, and okay, and whenever I say their names, Shanann is going to be SW, Celeste is going to be CW, Bella will be BW, NK will be NK, and CW did I just say CW? I don't know, but if I did, that is what we'll call him. Just to keep it respectful, because some people don't deserve to be called by their name in this situation. Clip of SW sticking a flag in the ground, signifying that she is sticking to her guns and does not want her or her children's memory to be forgotten. So that was whenever I was like, okay, I kind of asked, like, do you want people to keep going with like the like pages and like shine, you know, Shanann, shine like Shanann, you know, things like that. Do you want that to keep going? And her answer was yes. She doesn't want people to forget about her legacy or her children, or make anybody else feel like they're forgotten, maybe her family. She doesn't want to let them feel like they've been forgotten either. So in this world, if we can keep that going, that would be great, she said. SW brought up the scene where she was buried with NW, Nico, when I asked about him. So mind you, this had got brought up more than once. This same scenario, if you go back in my readings, something really bothered her about being buried in the dirt, and how it was done. This is something that's hard for her to let go. Mind you, she doesn't have to let go. I was just kind of saying, kind of hard to accept type thing. So it's hard for her to let go and accept, along with how CW disposed of his own children, BW and CW. She passed. The events after she passed is what gets to her more than other situations. Next, she's more open to talking. Okay, so this is when I realized she was more open to talk to me. Seems like I'm speaking more to SW at this time. She was not praying for him. She was not praying for him. Whatever he said about praying, no, that's not what she was doing for him. Something like, Lord, help me, or please God, something like that she may have said. But it wasn't for him. It was for her and her kids. All she thought of was her children and not wanting her family to hurt. That's what she was remembering before passing. And I honestly feel like she didn't think she was going to die for 2 seconds. I think it was maybe like, you know, you're in shock. I think maybe she thought maybe he's just trying to choke me out or make me pass out, or I don't know if she 100% knew what was going on. Could have been because she was drugged by him and she was sleepy and kind of out of it. But I'll keep going and explain that as well. I don't think they were actively talking when he choked her. I do believe she 100% knew he was cheating. I do not believe she 100% knew he was cheating at all before passing. Did not get clear answer on who gave pills to her. So if we were fighting / talking and I was awake, I maybe would have tried to release himself from me. Felt unable, shocked. As stated before in my prior reading, that part about being in shock. But she said if we were fighting / talking and I was awake, I maybe would have tried to release himself from me. But I saw this twice. I do see Shanann running downstairs, possibly the basement. Was there a pole in the basement? I saw her hand grab it, like to help her turn a certain direction. That's the only reason why I said basement, that something may have happened in the basement, because I did see her kind of running, but like while she was running, grabbing something to pull her in the direction to go another way. So let's say if you're looking straight ahead, it's like if she was coming towards you and there was like a pole there or something there, like a wall, something for her to grab onto, to then run this way and then turn this way. And I see her hair, like her hair was down. She was having coffin birth in the truck on the way to site, on the way to the site where CW buried her and left his children in tanks. While SW was being strangled, I see her putting her hands on his forearm. So when he was choking her, I'm assuming she obviously was down. Her hands were on his forearm like this. While he was like this, then it was like this. So that's what I remember. It's like a very much of a grasp while he was doing that. It just seemed like it was like total, but not enough to, it was like over time. Like he was able to do it over time. She may have been drugged enough to not understand until bam, you know, like she was actually being, about to be unconscious. She did also smell due to defecation after passing. He tried to move fast at that point, so no evidence was at the scene. He took her pants off. He honestly wasn't panicking during the events at the house. He was annoyed of Bella and CeCe immediately after SW's passing. Okay, his plan was starting to flop in his mind. So BW and CW, he was very annoyed with them right after the events with SW happened. I think he thought they were gonna stay in the bed and he was able to dispose of all of them and it wasn't gonna be that much of an issue, but he started to see, okay, well, they now seen their mom pass. Something's wrong here. Eventually someone's gonna talk, and it just started, he was thinking the whole way, I think, on the way to the site if he wanted to actually get rid of them or not. Only because he's decently smart enough to say, okay, well, if I do that, then it's gonna look bad on me really quickly that all three of them are missing. You know, he just started going through all these little thoughts in his head on the way there. But I think that he made his decision very shortly after. NK already had him by his, you know what? She gave him fuel to leave his wife, and Kate was not there when killing took place. She would give him reasons to be aggravated about having a family with SW. So it was all coerced to do this. Did she think he was going to kill his whole family? I don't think so. I don't think she had the intent that that was going to happen. But she was fueling him to leave. She didn't know or care how, if I'm being quite frank. 13. Okay, so SW did think NW would help their marriage and be closer. So I'm assuming she felt maybe a baby would help them be closer to each other. And it was a boy, so it's something that he would connect to maybe in a different way. She was trying, you know, she thought that that would help. So CW did feel like a puppet on her show, SW. But he never expressed a problem to SW about this. She was loyal to him. So, you know, he did feel like just there, you know, in her family, in the family sometimes. But he never expressed that it was a problem. He never expressed to her how deep of an issue he had with this. Admitted she was not perfect, but she wanted her marriage to work. So keep that in mind. She's now starting to self-reflect, and she wasn't perfect. And she's telling us she wasn't perfect, but she was ready to make her marriage work. She was trying to see if it would work, or gonna try to see if it would work. So with that being said, I do feel like she knows her faults in the marriage. Just because he did what he did, and I'm not defending him whatsoever, but just because he did what he did does not mean in the marriage that he was always wrong. It doesn't. And she's self-reflecting on that too. But just regarding the marriage, not about what he did, she will not forgive. That's not an option. But looking back at the marriage, she had her faults as well. And it's nice for me to know that as a spirit, she's able to self-reflect as well. So this is a statement she said, he will never be free. So there's your answer. The last one, Shanann admitted some bad traits about herself. She's so aware now. A good thing for anyone to notice. It's a good thing for anyone to notice her faults. So keep that in mind. It's liberating, just like it would be in this world. And she, I don't think 100% looked at herself in the mirror when she was here. So it's nice for her to be able to self-reflect and see herself for who she is and know that she was good enough. I'm trying to see if I wrote anything. It was like literally all over the place. Like, I mean, but yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and I have to do something again. I mean, I could have kept going. I just didn't want to. I honestly could have kept going. But those messages I feel were clear as well. So I want you to pick and poke out of those and kind of put the pieces together on that and get your answers. So there you go. If there's any other requests, just let me know. We are in quarantine right now. We're supposed to, until April 3rd or something like that. We are supposed to be home, and we might have I believe we have a curfew now in Houston. I'm not exactly sure. I need to go look back on the video, but anyway, so, you know, just stay safe, stay inside, be precautious, and I will be keeping my thoughts with all of my supporters.